What's up, guys? It's Cloud here, and this is going to be a little bit different of a video than normal for Monster Hunter. I'm going to display like this longsword build pretty much that I have been working on and getting the decorations for, because since Fatalis came out and since Arc Tempered Velkhana came out, I haven't really seen any builds that have like blown me away or anything. So you're just gonna see like a very basic, like, you know, longsword play here of like or rotation rather, and we're just really working up like a good, you know, like damage per minute here. It varies based on like what phase of the fight you're in, honestly, because obviously if you're starting from scratch like here and you're building a meter, I go for 3 minutes here fighting instead of 1 minute. And the process is basically you just go for 3 minutes, do as much damage as you can in 3 minutes, and then essentially you divide that by 3, and that'll give you your damage per minute, starting from scratch, averaged. That way you get some time to, like, you know, because like longsword's weird with its meter and everything, so you get some time to like build up the meter, and then after this I will have another clip trimmed in where it will just be from orange, or second level of meter charge on longswords. So like if you're coming after a monster's gone to another area, if you're coming in, you're usually at orange, and I'll show you like what the damage looks like there. In comparison, pretty much it's like not a huge difference, but like it's pretty, you know, any damage matters when you're doing like master rank, like 6 tempered elders, you know, like Fatalis, whatever. Like, you know, you want to pump out as much damage as you can. I'm sure this isn't like the highest damage per minute build you can make, but like this is just like a pretty good one that I've been using a lot, and I can do a lot of hunts, like most of the hunts in the game aside from like the big ones like Fatalis, in under 10 minutes at this point, like no problem. So, yeah. So anyway, basically, yeah, I'm just doing the same rotation over and over here, because this is like the most consistent for this test, you know, and I do have the weak point on the cart, so that I'm getting like an ideal thing, because usually I have the weakness exploit procced on enemies because I use a Savage Jho, which we'll get to in a little while. But yeah, so the 3 minute mark's about to come up, I think, in maybe like 20 seconds. Just looking at the damage. And I can tell you that what happens here is essentially a division of 3 will bring me to, actually it's less than 20 seconds, but yeah, division of 3 is 11,856 damage per minute with this build. And the build is the Fatalis Longsword, Fatalis Beta Head, Chest, Gloves, Fatalis Alpha Waist, and then Fatalis Beta Boots. Now, you can obviously just run the 4 set and use a filler piece of gear, such as, you know, Cove Legs or whatever, but like I won't, because I'm lazy. Now, you're going to see for gems here, I have to go a little bit quick here, because you can see all the stats on the side. So for gems here, we're looking at, in the weapon, I believe it is Mighty Maintenance, both of them. There's the Augments, Affinity Increase 1, Health Regen 1, Elemental 1, so yeah. And then Flawless Maintenance times 3 in the head, Crit Med in the chest times 3, 2 Expert pluses, and a Handicraft in the gloves, another Handicraft in the gloves, as well as a Challenger and a Shaver, and then 3 Challenger pluses in the feet with an Attack Charm 5, and then the Temporal Mantle has Attack Jewels, and the Rocksteady has Protection Jewels. Now, you don't have to run Handicraft, and you don't have to run the 5 stack of Maintenance. And you don't even have to run Crit Medicine, realistically, if you don't want. You just need crit of some sort. But, you know, this is a pretty bare bones DPS build with a few little survivability tweaks, but it's not a very comfy build, I have to say. After having used it a lot, you're really just like, relying on mantles. And by the way, here's the second DPS test. But yeah, you're really just relying on your mantles coming up off of the maintenance 5. They come up, I think, 3 times within 10 minutes. So you're gonna have about, I want to say like 7.5 minutes of mantle usage if you're using them properly, like, you know, dodging with temporal, and then, like, you know, if you can't dodge or whatever, you get an unlucky attack, and it dodges for you, that's fine. But yeah, it's like an average of 7 minutes out of the 10 minutes, or something like that. Like, it's pretty good uptime. So yeah, and then this is actually like on a minute timer, so you'll just see that it's like 12,000 and some damage per minute from orange, which is pretty good, I think. I've seen Gunlance builds with like 17,000 damage per minute. Obviously, it's just a whole different mechanic type, and I don't know, I feel like Longsword is just harder to get like a high damage build like that, since I'm pretty much maxed out in like offensive skills. Like, I have all the critical stuff. I have critical I7, as you saw. You know, weakness exploit 3, critical boost 3, attack 5 goes up to 7 with the mantle. You know, agitator 7, all those like super offensive abilities. I even have flawless 3 for the boost, like the 20 points of damage boost. And it's hard. I mean, like, a lot of these things you have to take into account as well. Would be that, like, even this is just like a sim kind of, like, none of the abilities aside from maximum might and fucking, what's it called, peak performance from flawless, that's what it was, are procs. So like, you don't have agitator, which is like a huge part of your damage, and so like you have to take that into account. But like, essentially, the way you're going to be playing with this build, I do have an example that comes up next, because I was going into the guiding lands to like show like a play test of this against an actual monster. It ends up I was trying to get my guiding lands, a few of my regions, back up to level 7 from like 6.8. And so while I was calling a great Jagras in, which you will see in a second, Savage Jho, just a regular one, not a tempered one, decides to come out, so you can really see this build just bully him pretty well. It's like, it's not super fast of a kill, but it's like 6 minutes or something like that, 7 minutes. But yeah, so the other thing I was worried about, of course, would be, you know, having this Jagras out while the Savage Jho's here, because as you can see, he's already immune to damage, because Joe's going straight to pick him up and use him as a weapon on me, which, you know, I'm not a big fan of. And you also have to take into like account margin of error, which I have a very large amount of, because for some reason, even though I'm nearly, I think I'm at like 985 quests with Longsword, I still just suck with it, like, to be honest. I never foresight slash because I'm super lazy, and I don't really know the timings to it even after all this time, because I never got used to it. But in addition to that, I miss a lot of the early in this fight anyway. I miss a lot of the early like helm breakers, like right here, as you can see. I start to get rolling though mid fight. Early mid-fight, and then just pretty much destroy him. But like, if I wasn't doing this right here, it would have been a much faster kill, probably like a 5-minute kill. So like, good longsword players, like really good longsword players, obviously will get a lot more out of this build if they're always hitting, like 100% accuracy with their swings and stuff. That one was just unlucky. There we go, we actually hit one there, and then we only hit him once because we slid off his back, which is cool for me. But yeah, no, so I'm gonna read off some stats now based on like the builder if you were to sim this in the Honey Hunter. And so we're looking at a total of, I believe, 300 hits of purple sharpness because of the Handicraft 4. Once again, you don't need to run it if you don't want to. I just have the 2 rarity 12 Handicraft decos, so I have room for it in my build. While still getting all the offensive attacks, or abilities, I guess, that I want in. I do really well on hitting these like baseball swings on him here, I will say that. I have the timings down for that attack pretty well, even though I don't really fight Savage Jho as much anymore. But yeah, so, you know, 300 hits of purple, always good. The effective raw unbuffed, that means no food buff, nothing like that, just your armor and damage charms in your bag. You're getting 820 effective raw. And then you're getting 428 true raw, which will go up to if you have a food buff and a demon drug on, 450 raw and 863 effective raw, so 450 true raw. And you will be at, with this build, the reason I'm running maximum might 2 only is because anything above that would be a waste of a slot, because maximum might 3 would put you at 105% affinity, even though it caps out at 100%, and without maximum might 3 and just having 2, it's 95%, and there's not a huge difference, especially since we're not using Master's Touch here. We're using True Razor Sharp from the Fatalis 4-piece. So, you know, it's good. 95% is good enough for me, honestly. Now, we're also looking at the fact that I didn't tenderize any part of Savage Jho here, because I really don't know why I didn't. I feel like I was just being lazy again. So you have a lot of things to consider when you're watching this. Like, there's definitely a lot of potential for this build to be a lot more effective if you really want to play like super by the book mechanically. So I feel like this is a really good build if that's your goal. But yeah, so basically, once again, if you didn't catch the last like 4 decorations, because it was scrolling a little bit fast there, you want, the reason I'm running the legs beta, or why I'm running 5 pieces in general of Fatalis gear, is A, because I don't feel like using a different piece of gear, since like the defense on this is like some of the highest. It's equal to Arc Tempered Belcanas, but also you know, you have all the decoration slots, the crispy decoration slots. So like for the legs, I dedicated all to my Challenger Pluses. So I have 3 Challenger Plus Rarity 11 decos that are the 4-slot ones. That's 6 points of agitator right there, and then I just threw in a Challenger Jewel, like rank 2 or 2-slot, into one of the 3 slots on the Alpha Dragon Barbs or waist, right under the shaver, and so that works really well as well. And then, I mean, in theory, if you want, you only need to run, if you're going to run any handicraft at all, I'd say 3 is a good amount. I have 4 just because it's nice to be able to go through fights without having to sharpen at all, especially since like I'm not running any type of speed sharpening or anything like that. So I would recommend it just because it's a nice little you know, like a little utility piece. Now, once again, the only real defensive like comfort skills you're having in this build, real quick, would be recovery up 3. So medicine is the thing you'd see on the decorations, and the reason for that is just because your weapon should have the augment for recovery up, even though it's a very small amount at its base. With that extra 30%, you end up healing for quite a bit of damage, as you can see here. Right on that, like I'm already back to full health, even though I was down like 15%. So as long as you're not getting hit too much, you can definitely heal back, and you rarely have to like use healing items with this, which is really nice. And then you're also going to be using, obviously, maintenance 5, just because having your mantles up, like fighting with a rock steady, it's a lot easier to put out a lot more consistent damage when you're not, you know, getting staggered or whatever out of combos. Like, it's super important for Longsword. Maybe some other builds that have like 2 or 3 attack little combos are a little bit different, but like Longsword, you definitely don't want to be getting interrupted in the middle of powering up your meter for like a Spirit Slash combo. So yeah. And then temporal, obviously, the more that's up, the more you can dodge. So yeah, that's pretty much the build video, and yeah, hope you enjoyed and hope it's useful to you guys, and leave some feedback. Thank you.